The film begins with Driss driving his boss Philippe across Paris. He breaks the speed limit and starts driving too fast. The police chase him. Driss bets that he will outrun the police. However, they are quickly apprehended by the police. He pretends to the police that his boss is very sick and that he is taking him to the hospital. That is why he crossed the speed limit. Due to the emergency, the police excuse Driss for breaking the speed limit and offer to deliver them safely and quickly to the hospital. After reaching his destination, Driss smokes and gives it to Philippe as well. Driss promises that he will take care of everything. They leave before the staff of the previous hospital find them. This friendship started many months ago. Philippe and his assistant, Magali, were interviewing Philippe's caregivers. The interview was not going well because the answers to the questions went unanswered or did not match the questions. They get surprised when Driss comes in suddenly before his turn. He says that he just needs Philippe's signature on some paper so that they won't hire him and he can get unemployment benefits. He behaves rudely with them, and he also tries to be frank with Magali. Philippe tells him to take the signed papers the next day. Driss returns to his home, where he lives in a small space. At home, he goes to take a bath, and his younger siblings start teasing him. Meanwhile, Mina, the eldest sister, scares them away. Driss now looks out the window while waiting for his mother, and he sees his brother Adma secretly meeting someone in a car. When Adma returns home, he says he was at school, then picks up his bag and goes back. Then Driss becomes even more certain that Adma is hiding something from him. In the evening, his mother comes home, and she lashes out at him for not coming home in 6 months. Her mother tells him to leave the house, and he hangs out with his friends throughout the night. The next day, Driss goes to Philippe's house to collect his papers and is welcomed by a housekeeper, namely Yvonne. She shows him the house and takes him to see Philippe, who is ailing. Philippe offers him the job of caregiver. After that, Driss puts his stuff in the room and is taught how to look after Philippe. Now she teaches him how to take care of Philippe. His first task is to put on Philippe's stockings after he uses the bathroom. He seems hesitant at first but later considers it part of his work. Later, when Driss is sitting on the terrace in the evening, Philippe's daughter Elsa and her boyfriend, Bastien, arrive, looking for a lonely place to kiss. Driss quickly understands and adapts to Philippe's routine, even though he makes a few mistakes in the beginning. For instance, he holds the phone in Philippe's hand instead of putting it close to his ear. But he learns from all these mistakes. Most of the letters he opens to Philippe are not allowed to be opened. There is simply no work in Driss' life now. He just has fun and never misses an opportunity to get close to Magali. He even invites girls to his bed on occasion. One morning, Yvonne comes to his room to scold him for being so late. She finds some dangerous tools in his bag, but she doesn't say anything to him. Today, Driss' job is to take Philippe for a ride around town in the car. He refuses to transport Philippe's wheelchair behind the wagon as cargo. He says they will go in a nice car. As they are leaving the building, they notice that one of their neighbors has parked their car next to the main gate. Driss now approaches the man, grabs him by the collar, and orders him to park his car somewhere else. After that, Driss takes Philippe to a museum, where Philippe thinks about buying a piece of art. But Driss tells him it's a waste of money because that is just red paint thrown on a canvas. Philippe then visits one of his relatives, who informs him that everyone is concerned about Driss because he can pick fights with anyone at any time. It turns out that Driss also committed crimes. But Philippe doesn't care, and they come home. At home, Driss reads a letter to Philippe. At night, when he has dinner in the kitchen with Yvonne, she tells him about a female friend of Philippe whose name is Eleanor. She says they write letters to each other, which Philippe did not let Driss open earlier. She tells him that Philippe and Eleanor never met in person, rather, they wrote letters. At night, when Driss is asleep, he learns that Philippe is having trouble breathing. Although reluctantly, he goes to his room and gently pulls him up into bed. He wipes his forehead with a wet cloth. After that, Philippe falls asleep, and after some time he wakes up again and tells Driss to take him outside to breathe fresh air. He sits Philippe in his wheelchair after wrapping him in a blanket and taking him to the riverside. Now Philippe seems relaxed, and he tells Driss that sometimes walking outside has a lot of effects. Later, Philippe's health deteriorates, and Driss offers him cigarettes, which he initially declines. When Driss insists, he takes the cigarette to his mouth. After that, they go to a restaurant to eat. At the restaurant, they have a good time together. Philippe decides to tell another of his stories to Driss. Philippe tells him that he met his wife when they were students. A little later, they got married, and after the marriage, his wife had 5 miscarriages. And they found out that she had a disease that could never be cured. Then they adopted Elsa. He tells Driss that he has always liked adventures. One day he got hurt while paragliding. But he still thinks that he is handicapped due to the absence of his wife. After joking around, Philippe remembers today's date, and he says that Driss has passed his 1-month trial. He informs Driss that he is now hired. But before he can start work, he has to bring back the stolen egg that Philippe's wife gave him as a gift. His wife gave him an egg every year for 25 years, and now he has 25 such eggs. The next day, Driss goes to meet Mina, who is leaving for school. She is angry with him because he has not been responding to her phone calls for some days. He just keeps telling her to find that egg, and she says that some policemen come to her house daily. After that, Driss meets Adma, and he wants to take him to lunch, but Adama refuses. Adma then goes somewhere with some people sitting in their car. After that, the scene changes to Philippe's house. Philippe tells Magali to write a letter for Eleanor, and Driss is also allowed to sit with them. Driss is surprised to know that Philippe has been writing letters to Eleanor for the last 6 months, and they never sent each other a picture. When he gets Eleanor's number in a letter, he calls her and insists to Philippe that he talk to her via phone call. Philippe and Eleanor have a lot of conversations on mobile, and now he is out of the world of letters and talking to her on mobile. Later, Philippe and Driss go out to see a modern art opera, where Driss makes fun of their clothes and laughs a lot. Before the opera begins, Philippe starts talking on the phone. The next day, Driss is busy drawing in his room, and Elisa visits him. When she mocks him, he storms out of the room. Yvonne hides Philippe's picture before Driss comes. Driss tells Philippe to teach some manners to Elisa. Philippe and Driss grow closer over time. Philippe bought a new suit for Driss. Driss draws his first painting, and he goes to show it to Magali. When Driss tries to kiss her, she slaps him in the face. Philippe likes Driss painting, and he vows to sell it. On Philippe's birthday, like every year, he pretends to be surprised only to show his relatives. During the birthday ceremony, Driss finds Elisa in her room screaming. She tells Driss that Bastien broke up with her, and she requests that he talk to Bastien. Driss agrees to talk to Bastien if she gives him money. On the other hand, Philippe shows Driss painting to his relative and convinces him to purchase it for 11,000 euros. Driss returns to the party and talks to Yvonne about Magali. She tells him that Magali is in a relationship with someone. As the party is about to wind up, Philippe sings classical music for Driss. Later, Driss puts on his favorite music and starts dancing at the center. Gradually, everyone starts to dance with him. Later that night, Driss takes Philippe to his bed, and he reads him the latest letter from Eleanor. Driss finds a picture of her in the envelope, which he shows him. She informed Philippe that she would be in Paris the following week. That day arrives, and Yvonne and Driss try many suits on him. When Philippe and Yvonne go to meet Eleanor, Driss sees Bastien, and he threatens him to say sorry to Elsa. On the other hand, Philippe and Yvonne are waiting for Eleanor in the restaurant, and when he thinks she is not coming, he makes a phone call to Driss and tells him to drive him back home. Philippe is exiting the restaurant, and at the same time, Eleanor is entering. That night, Philippe gives Driss the money he got after selling his painting. The next day, Driss takes Philippe to the countryside, where he decides to go paragliding. After they return home, Driss sees Adma waiting for him. Driss asks him about the wound on his face, but Adma does not tell Driss what is going on in his life. After that, Philippe then asks Driss to tell him about his family background. Driss seems hesitant at first, but later tells him the reality of his family. It is revealed that Adma is not his biological brother, and neither are his other siblings or mother. Rather, they are his aunt and cousins. After the conversion, Philippe tells Driss to teach some manners to Adma. He fires him from the job, saying he should take care of his family. The next morning, Driss readies his luggage, and meanwhile, Magali comes to bid him farewell. She introduces Driss to her partner, namely Fred. After that, Driss gives a small monitor to Yvonne, and she gives him an escort file. He throws the file in the trash and goes away. Sometime later, Driss and Adma go to the station to welcome their mother. On the other side, Philippe hires a new caretaker who is very rude. Over time, Driss returns to his normal life and rejoins his old friends. Later, he goes to a job interview, and he is hired as a driver. Philippe is unhappy with his new caretaker. One night, Philippe gets sick, and Yvonne sends for Driss. He drives Philippe to the hospital and then takes him to a seaside restaurant during the day. Driss goes away after giving Philippe his favorite special egg. At the same time, Eleanor walks up to Philippe. He gets married to her, and she bears him 2 children. Driss also gets married and has 3 sons. He owns a firm. The movie ends there. If you like our video, kindly subscribe our channel and press the bell icon so that you don't miss the new video. Thanks.